I didn't go to the shelter to save a dog. I went to save my marriage. That's what I told myself as I scrubbed dried mud and something worse off the concrete floor, the smell of bleach burning my nose. My husband said volunteering would help me clear my head. His exact words. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one drifting. But here's the thing. Marriages don't start falling apart overnight. They crack quietly. Missed calls. Late nights. Stories that almost line up, but not quite. And then, a bark. Sharp. Urgent. Familiar. I froze. Out of all the sounds in that echoing room. Whimpers, claws scratching metal, low growls. That bark cut through me like a memory I didn't ask for. I turned slowly. Second row. Third kennel. A golden retriever pressed against the bars. Dirty. Thinner than I remembered. But those eyes. No. No way. My chest tightened as I stepped closer, heart pounding like it already knew something my brain refused to accept. Hey, buddy, I whispered. The dog went still. Then his tail moved, hesitant at first, then faster. Recognition. That's when my stomach dropped. Because 3 months ago, my husband stood in our kitchen, eyes red, voice shaking, and told me this dog, his dog, was gone. Lost. Vanished. We searched for days. Put up flyers. Cried together. Or at least, I thought we did. But now I was staring at him. Alive. Here. In a cage. So I asked the one question I wasn't ready to hear the answer to. How long has he been here? The volunteer beside me barely looked up from her clipboard. About 3 months. 3 months. The exact moment everything started to fall apart. And suddenly, this wasn't about a dog anymore. It was about a lie. And I had no idea how deep it went. 3 months. The number wouldn't leave my head. It echoed as I crouched in front of the kennel, fingers gripping the cold bars like they might ground me. His name is? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The volunteer flipped a page. We've got him listed as Sonny. Found wandering near the east side. No collar. No chip. Sonny. I almost laughed. Because that wasn't his name. My husband used to correct people every single time. It's not Sonny, it's Ranger. He was weirdly strict about that. Said the name mattered. So why didn't it matter enough to come back for him? I swallowed hard and looked closer. The matted fur. The small scar above his left paw. The tiny notch in his ear from when he ran through our fence as a puppy. There was no doubt anymore. This was Ranger. Which meant one thing. My husband didn't lose him. He let him go. But why? That question sat heavy in my chest as I reached through the bars. Ranger. No. Sonny pressed his head into my hand like he'd been waiting. Waiting. That word hit different. Because if he'd been here this whole time, then every search we did, every late night drive, every tear, was fake. Staged. I stood up too fast, my head spinning. Can anyone just leave a dog here? I asked. The volunteer shrugged. Happens more than you'd think. People don't want the paperwork. They just dump and go. Dump and go. My stomach turned. Because suddenly, a memory surfaced. Clear, sharp, impossible to ignore. The night Ranger disappeared. My husband insisted on going out alone to look. Said it was faster that way. Said I should stay home, in case Ranger came back. I believed him. I trusted him. But now that night looked very different. Because what if? He never went looking at all. What if he came here? And if he did, then what else has he been lying about? I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and snapped a picture. Because I was about to confront him. And something told me, this was only the beginning. I didn't call him. Not yet. Because I knew if I heard his voice, I might believe whatever excuse he gave me. And right now, I needed proof. So I stayed at the shelter. I volunteered for intake, something I'd never done before. Papers. Records. Anything that could explain how Ranger ended up here. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual, that golden retriever in B3. Sonny, do you have records on him? The woman at the desk clicked through her screen. If it's an owner surrender, yes. Strays, not always. A pause. Then her expression shifted. Oh, this one's odd. My pulse spiked. Odd how? No official surrender form, she said slowly. Just a note. Dropped off after hours. Tied to the gate. My stomach twisted. Do you have cameras? I asked. She hesitated. We do. Why? I think I know who left him. That changed everything. Minutes later, I was in a back office, staring at grainy security footage. Timestamp. 3 months ago. The exact night Ranger went missing. A car pulled up. Driver's door opened. A man stepped out. Tall. Familiar. My chest tightened. He turned slightly, and the light hit his face. My husband. No doubt. No mistake. He walked to the gate, holding Ranger's leash. My hands started shaking. Because this wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. But what happened next made even less sense. He didn't just leave. He looked around, like he was making sure no one saw him. And then, he pulled something out of his pocket. Something small. Something he slipped onto Ranger before walking away. And I realized, he didn't just abandon the dog. He left a message. I replayed the footage. Again. And again. Pause it. Right there. I said, leaning closer to the screen. The manager froze the frame. My husband's hand hovered near Ranger's collar. Whatever he pulled from his pocket, it wasn't random. It was deliberate. Careful. Can you zoom in? I asked. The image pixelated, but not enough to miss it. A tag. Not the one Ranger used to wear. This one was smaller. Thinner. Almost hidden under the fur. My pulse kicked up. Because that meant one thing. He wanted the dog found, but not by just anyone. Can I see him? I asked. Minutes later, I was back at Kennel B3, kneeling in front of Ranger. My hands were steady now, but my mind wasn't. Hey boy, I whispered, slipping my fingers gently into his fur, searching. There. Cold metal brushed my fingertips. I carefully pulled it out. A small, worn tag. Not a name. Not an address. Just a number. 7 digits. No label. No explanation. My heart started racing. Why would he leave this? And why hide it? I pulled out my phone, staring at the number. I already knew what I was about to do. But something felt off. Because if this was meant to be found, then it wasn't just a clue. It was an invitation. I stepped outside. The sun suddenly too bright, my hands shaking as I dialed. 1 ring. 2. 3. Click. Silence. Then breathing. Slow. Calm. Waiting. Hello. I said, my voice barely holding. A pause. Then a voice answered. Not my husband. Not anyone I recognized. Low. Controlled. Where did you find the dog? My blood ran cold. Because they didn't ask who I was. They already knew. And in that moment, I realized. I hadn't just uncovered a lie. I'd stepped into something much bigger. I should have hung up. But I didn't. At a shelter, I said. Why? A quiet breath on the other end. Not relief, confirmation. Is he okay? They knew exactly which dog. Who is this? I demanded. Pause. You weren't supposed to find that tag. My grip tightened. Why does my husband dump his dog and leave your number? Silence. Then, he didn't dump him. My stomach dropped. Then what did he do? Another breath. Slower. He was trying to protect him. Protect him? From what? Listen, the voice said, lower now. If you're calling, something went wrong. He was supposed to come back. Come back? No, I said. He told me the dog was gone. We searched. A longer pause. That's not what we agreed on. We. That word hit hard. How do you know my husband? A beat. Better question. How well do you know him? I felt that. Because suddenly. I didn't. Late nights. Missed calls. Half answers I ignored. What is he involved in? I asked. Silence. Then. You need to stop digging. A chill ran through me. Not happening. A sharper exhale. Then hear this. They said. If he didn't come back for the dog, something went very wrong. My heart started pounding. What are you saying? Click. The line went dead. And just like that, one thought took over. What if he didn't lie about everything? What if he never came back because he couldn't? I didn't go home. Not yet. Because if something had gone very wrong, I needed to know what before I walked back into that house and pretended everything was normal. So I did the one thing I'd avoided this whole time. I checked his office. My husband guarded that room like it mattered. Locked drawers. Closed laptop. Always work stuff. I used to respect that. Now, it felt like a boundary built on lies. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. I went straight to the desk. Top drawer, nothing. Second, papers. Bills. Normal. Third drawer. Locked. Of course. I stared at it for a second, then grabbed a pin from the cup, snapped it in half, and jammed the ink tube into the keyhole. Twist. Pressure. Click. The drawer slid open. Inside, no clutter. Just one folder. Thin. Black. Out of place. My pulse picked up as I opened it. Photos. Not random. Surveillance. My husband, talking to people I'd never seen. Different locations. Parking lots. Street corners. This wasn't work. This was something else. Something planned. Under the photos, documents. Numbers. Dates. Coordinates. And one word circled multiple times. Transfer. My stomach tightened. Transfer of what? I flipped to the last page. A printed email. No sender name. Just an address I didn't recognize. Subject line. Final drop. My chest tightened as I read. Dog secured. Tag in place. Will retrieve once confirmed clean. My hands went cold. This wasn't abandonment. This was a setup. A plan. And my husband was right in the middle of it. But then I saw the date. 3 months ago. Same night. And one line at the bottom that changed everything. If anything goes wrong, do not return home. I froze. Because he did come home. He stood in front of me. He lied. So either he ignored the warning, or something forced him to pretend everything was fine. And suddenly, I wasn't just asking what he was hiding. I was asking, who was watching him? A floorboard creaked behind me. I wasn't alone. I didn't turn around right away, because I already knew who it was. Close the drawer, my husband said behind me. Slow. Controlled. I did it. Then turned. He looked calm. Too calm. How long have you been home? I asked. Long enough. His eyes dropped to my hands. You weren't supposed to see that. The dog, I said. Ranger. I found him. A flicker, gone fast. Is he okay? He asked. That question hit wrong. Like he already knew the answer. Yes, I said. But I called the number. I saw everything. His jaw tightened. You shouldn't have done that. Then explain it. Silence. Finally, I was trying to keep you out of it. Out of what? He exhaled. The dog wasn't lost. He was a test. A signal drop. My stomach dropped. A test for who? He hesitated. People I got involved with. Work that wasn't clean. Everything inside me shifted. And the warning not to come home. I asked. I couldn't stay away from you, he said quietly. That should have meant something. But it didn't fix anything. And now? I asked. He met my eyes. Now they know you called. A beat. Then, a car door slammed outside. We both heard it. And everything went still. Because whatever he was running from just found us.